Taking a look at Aurora, specifically, of course, our freehold market. Aurora in the last couple months, I'd say, had a little challenge, but there is a highlight. I would say March was pretty good month in terms of what the change we've seen here, specifically more so in the detached. But looking at freehold overall, we're up just slightly month over month in terms of median price. We're seeing more sales come back in, which is fantastic. We are down when we look at those year over year numbers, 20% in comparison to some of the 40% numbers we've seen in other places. We are down 40% year to date in terms of that sales volume. Matt, when we talk about median price year over year, this is probably the most drastic number we've seen. And I think it's mostly because Aurora has such a wide range of housing that even when you're looking at median prices as opposed to average prices, you just can't account for the fluctuation when a couple of those big homes sell. Because I don't think that the market accurately feels like you're down 12%, or 13% year over year. Down for sure, like 6 to 5 in a lot of the neighborhoods that I specifically look at, but 13% definitely feels big.
I would argue that Aurora has a lot of those high end over $2 million homes, and that's where we're starting to see the significant pile up of inventory is in that price range. So maybe we're starting to see a little bit of fluctuation there, but I was just looking at the chart for prices compared to the last 2 years, and
Mm-hmm.
it's held up not bad. Why are we seeing 1430 or 1.43?
Yeah. Like I honestly, I think it is just because when you have a couple of those months where a few of the really big homes sell, it definitely messes with the numbers a little bit.
Yeah.
It's not a huge town, but it has a very wide scale in terms of pricing. So I think that those median numbers can be toyed with a little bit. And when I look specifically at um, when I look specifically at the median sale price for the detached housing, now we're looking at everything across the board here, detached, semis, and the towns in terms of our freeholds. But when I look specifically at detached, the swings are really big on a month to month basis, like $300,000 swings in terms of median price. And so to me, that just says a couple big homes sold one month and not so much on the next month coming through. Let's backtrack here to our new listings. We're right in the middle where we should be. We're seeing people slow down in the spring month in terms of listing, whereas we're usually seeing this uptick. There's a couple where we go a little bit more laterally from March to April, but nonetheless, when we come over to active listings, because the sales volume is down, we're at the third highest year for buyer choice, let's call it. And we've now surpassed what we saw there in 2020, which is fantastic because here's the other thing you got to remember, Matt. Look at the start of the year. We were selling less homes in the start of the year than we sold when we were locked down. Couldn't leave your house for the first time in history, like our modern history. I'm sure there's maybe another time something happened. But in our modern history, you were told not to leave your house and everybody was out of work. We sold more homes there than we did in January, February, and March when we talk about freeholds in Aurora. So we've got a lot of work to do here in terms of bringing buyers back into the market. Median sale price. Now, here for the freehold, in comparison to what we were looking at in new market, we're deviating further from what 2023 and 2024, where we've got a bigger gap there to where we currently sit. And we're only just hovering over 2021, where we dipped down last month. And I think a lot of that, because again, I've been watching the detached market, I think a lot of that is being felt in the semis and towns, is where we're seeing a bigger challenge, which is interesting of all places. But nonetheless, that's what the numbers say. And we saw a nice decline there in terms of our months of inventory, Matt, because we saw less new homes hitting the market. So it's nice to see we're moving back towards more balance as opposed to our seller's market there. Or sorry, buyer's market.